So it's July, and I thought I'd do a mid-year reading wrap-up. The first book I read this year was Weapons of Mass Destruction by Kathy O'Neill. I already did a dedicated video on this book, which I'll link above. It was good, informative. I give it 4 stars. The next book I read was A Short Stay in Hell by Stephen Peck. Really short, but very impactful for me. But yeah, I gave it 4 stars because I just kept thinking about it the longer time went on. Mainly because it gave me some perspective on life. I really enjoyed it. I did already talk about this book in a separate video, so I will link that above. Definitely gave me a different perspective on life and just kind of enjoying the little things and every moment matters and things ending give life meaning, that sort of philosophical, existential thoughts. The next book I read was Project Hail Mary by Andy Weir. I really love this book. I could not get enough. I even watched the movie. And again, I did make a separate video detailing all the things that I loved from this book and the movie. I'll link it above. If you're in some kind of reading slump and you haven't read this book, read it. You will love it. The next book I read was not so great. It was You're Making Me Hate You by Corey Taylor. I really had high hopes for this book, but it was just negative, and thankfully I only listened to the audiobook, so it was quick to get through, but still it was just so negative and not my vibe, but I was generous in giving it a 2. I had high hopes because I love memoirs, I love biographies, I love nonfiction books that talk about music and people's real lives. I love reading memoirs, that sort of thing. So, and I always rate them high, and they're always a 4 or 5. So I thought this one would be 4 or 5, and it was not, and that was a disappointment. But yeah, whatever. The next book I read was If Anyone Builds It, Everyone Dies. It was good. I give it 3 stars. More of my thoughts are in a video, so I'll link that. But yeah, kind of scary if you have to actually think about the parables they're talking about. Yeah, we'll see where AI takes us. Who knows? The next book I read was The Simple Path to Wealth by J.L. Collins. Very informative book. Decent size. It mainly talks about a realistic view on financial freedom. Definitely doesn't feel overwhelming or throwing so many numbers or information at you. It's very simple, and I appreciate that. So I give it 4 stars. The next 2 books are in a series, but I would highly recommend them as an audiobook rather than a physical, but I just like having physical, is Dungeon Crawler Carl by Matt Dinneman. Very fun listen. I did start reading it physically, but I was overwhelmed with like XP and skill points and that sort of jargon, and I'm not really a gamer. But when I switched to the audiobook, I loved it. It was fast-paced, fun. His jokes might be a little cringe, but I like cringe, so who cares? Highly recommend. A lot of fun. It's RPG-style storytelling in which 2 characters, Carl and Princess Donut, are playing in this intergalactic battle royale game show. Kind of like Hunger Games, but make it international, and you're the only surviving people on the planet. Anyways, it's a lot of fun. It's weird to explain. I'm not doing a great job, but I would recommend it. The next book I read was Annihilation by Jeff Vandermeer. Really short book. It's part of a series called Area X or something. And there's also a movie, so I recommend the movie. Not the same, but definitely the same creepy, weird vibes. It's about something weird happening in Area X. And if you've seen the movie, you know what it is. But if you haven't, this is the first installation. There's 2 more, and maybe I'll continue, but I really like the first one, and that's why I own it. If you haven't read or watched the movie, it's about these 4 individuals. You don't know their names. You just know their profession, and they're going into Area X, trying to see what all is happening and why are weird things happening. Anyways, I enjoyed it. I gave it 4 stars, and maybe I'll continue in the series. Who knows? The next few books I don't have physically with me, but I read it on my Kindle. One of them was called The Cycle Syncing Handbook by Angie Marie. The book does a good job in detailing the different kind of stages and the ebbs and flow of energy and when to kind of watch out. I now keep track of my energy in that way, which is because it's hard to deny that doesn't play a role. So yeah, really valuable, 4 stars. And the last book, but I didn't read it last, is William by Mason Kuo. Really short book, really creepy. I don't want to say too much because it is so short. I'll try to keep this one short. So it's about a couple who's going through something and they have an AI in their house, and that's where I'll leave it. Really good. Definitely recommend. I give it 4 stars. Anyways, these are all the books that I read in the first half of the year. I would highly recommend you pick up some of them. Maybe not this one. But yeah, let me know what books you've read or recommend me a book. Anyways, if you've gotten this far, please leave me a comment. Let me know what books you've read, what you haven't, what you recommend. I'm always on the search for a good book. So, thanks for watching.